Welcome to CarTorque with Matty J. Another Tuesday night, always more car-related topics. In the studio with Reese, what's going on?
Hey, Matty, good man, you?
Not bad, not bad. Alan, what's happening?
Nothing much, just happy to be here.
And Jason, Memphis Movies, what's going on?
Not much, how you going?
Not bad, mate. Missed your show today. What did you talk about?
Ready Player One.
Was that any good?
It was enjoyable. I liked
Worth
it.
a watch, I reckon.
Yeah, people were hating on it, but it's fun. It's like a fun It's Senor Spielberg.
Spielberg, yeah. I was going to say. So, is it actually decent, Senor Spielberg, or is
Yeah,
it?
it's fine.
It's
You'll
back to, like-
enjoy it. You'll enjoy it.
Okay, well,
It's a good popcorn movie. You can go, Friday, Saturday night with your friends. Enjoy it. It's not deep or anything. It's not great. It's not gonna break.
It doesn't blow your mind.
You
have to watch it
break
5
the
times
mold.
or anything like that.
Yeah, that doesn't break the mold, but it's good. I liked it.
well, yeah. I've been wanting to give that a crack. So,
Yeah.
because from what I've seen, it looked kind of cool. I don't, as you know, I don't look at reviews.
Yeah.
And that's just not what I do. But
Yeah, you have
Yeah.
to make up your own mind.
I prefer to do that. Tonight we're talking big topic: naturally aspirated.
It's already been answered. It's forced induction.
Forced induction.
End the show. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
You wouldn't even let me finish. How's that? But yeah, we'll get to that very shortly after our first break. But first, I just want to talk about again why not to buy expensive cars. A reason that's what I'm about to say. So the clutch in the F6 is on its way out. It's the original clutch. Done 127,000 Ks now. And it's here and there it's starting to get a bit of slip. Drove it to Werribee, slipped on the way there a little bit, but then other than that it was held the power great. Got some experts to look at it. So people that deal with just performance Fords, as well as my mum's workshop, and they both said, yeah, it's kind of on its way. You should start looking at a new clutch. And here I am thinking, it's just a Ford. It won't be too expensive. Try close to $4,000
Jeez.
just for the clutch,
Just for the clutch.
because it's like a twin plate. It was like $3,980 something dollars, and I'm just like, no, I can't afford that, and two, that's just ridiculous for a clutch.
Matty, I want to offer a scenario where, if for argument's sake, you sell the Typhoon with the broken clutch,
Yep.
is that possible, and how much would you get, hypothetically?
Well, hypothetically, the car still drives fine.
Yeah.
It's just happening very, very intermittently,
Okay.
and it's eventually going to get worse, and it's not going to be able to hold much power
Yeah.
at all. Driving it around town, you can drive it, you can baby it, it'll be fine. It's just when you're giving it to it on certain times, under certain loads, it'll slip. So when the old boost comes in, it's not.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of luck of the draw. Sometimes it'll hold and you'll get full boost all the way to red line. Sometimes it'll just sit there and just rev out, and then it'll grab and it'll go. So pricing around, from what I can see, it's regardless. Even if I go for a cheaper one, which apparently they suck.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to stick with the twin plate clutch. All the experts say that the original clutch that comes in the car is the best clutch for it, or a Melwood Option 5, as the Melwood Option 3 is like leg day, and I don't want a car that gives me leg day every time I drive it. But yeah, got to stick with the twin plate, because otherwise I've got to convert the twin plate to a one plate, and it's a bit different on the back of the engine. But the worst part that gets me, right, is the V8 and the standard XR6 Turbo both have single plate clutches. Their replacements are like under $2,000, like for the clutch. They're like $1,500 max. Why is mine $4,000?
Because you got the exclusive 1 of 300 car or whatever it is.
It's ridiculous. I mean, come on, it's a clutch.
Because what I was
It's not a freaking Lambo.
What I was getting at before is, if you spend the $4,000 on the clutch and sell the car, then maybe put that money towards the RS.
Yes, I will get my RS one day.
Because if you keep the Typhoon, it'll go up in value, but it'll get more problems.
Mm.
So it's kind of like, do you sell it now and keep them and put the money towards the RS, or do you keep the car and there be more problems?
I mean, I could full dodgy spec and say, oh, yeah, it's hectic, it's got it drives fine, and get people to buy it, and it'll be like, oh crap, the clutch is gone. But I'm not that kind of guy.
No.
Plus, I kind of really like the car anyway. So, I haven't lost any money on it, regardless if I sell it or not.
Yeah.
So, it's a good car to drive, and you guys have all been in it. It's a really smooth and comfortable car. But the fact is that you don't see many of them. And I saw another Typhoon today, one because I went to a performance Ford place, but that was the only reason. I was thinking, like, what else could I get for that money? Like, Rexies and stuff. But you know what? Typhoon's kind of got like a bit of presence that a lot of cars don't really have. Like, like the GT's like way over the top, but with Typhoon it's more understated. And when people say, "Oh, wow, that's a Typhoon," it's not like just another WRX or no offense, Alan.
None taken. I understand there's that exclusivity.
Yeah, and I get with exclusivity comes pain, but really it's a Ford. I mean, come on.
It's exclusive, but it's also the Ford. So you want some middle ground, but you're not getting it.
Well, the thing is, it's kind of like a recurring $4,000 theme. Like my rear bar was $4,000. It's. Yeah, I freaked out when I found that price. Like, I can get it a little bit cheaper through my mum's work, but still, like, it's a lot of money. The quote I got because I can repair my clutch, installed like turnkey package. So by obviously replacing the plates on it, I'd be looking at, I think it was $2,700, which is another option, and that'll give me another 10 years out of it, or I get for the option 5, which again is like a three and a bit $1,000 clutch. So I was speaking to Reese John on the car right here. We found out some other brands possibly, and I want to see if I can get them through my work. But yeah, that's a lot of money for a clutch. Like it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, how many of them were made, and how many of them are sitting around? When people go for performance upgrades, which a lot of people do with those sort of cars, and that's why there's not many examples like yours, Matty. What clutches do they put in? So are they putting in the next level up, whatever that may be?
Yeah.
X-Cities, whatever. Something else has got to suit, because this can't be the only clutch.
Well, yeah, that's what I was telling you. I was like, what are you going to do with it? He's like, do you plan to mod it? I'm like, well, to be honest with you, I kind of like it how it is. It's like I've driven, 300 kilowatt. I drove a 360 kilowatt F6 310 not too long ago, and that was ridiculous. I'm like, that was blowing off the tires in 4 gears. Like, I'm like, what's the point? Personally, I don't really see I wouldn't mind getting a little bit extra tick out of it, but that's one, I don't need it, and two, I'm really going to lose my license the way I drive it anyway. So he's like to me, you got 2 options. He's like, 3 really. The standard one, and he's like, that'll do your normal power. That'll even do a little bit more. Perfectly fine, no issue at all. They're actually made for about 400 kilowatts. The next one up is the one that the 3 and a bit grand one. He's like, that's the Melwood Stage 5, and he's like, that'll do more than more than 430 kilowatts, and you can dump the clutch and do it all day, and it'll hold, and it'll last, and it'll be reliable. Next step up from that is a big heavy duty single plate leg day. But that'll do like a bazillion horsepower, and it'll take abuse. But he's like to me, you're not aiming for that. I don't want 300 kilowatts. I don't need 300 kilowatts. So I think probably going for like a more standard route. But I don't want a crappy clutch that's going to chatter. And he's like to me, yeah, you can get 1,000. Like I can get you a $1,500 clutch, or just under $1,000, so just over $1,000. But he's like to me, it's not going to be easy to use. It's not going to be as smooth as your clutch. It's going to be heavy. It's going to be chattery. It's going to be clunky. He's like, you don't want that. You want the smoothness that this car has. And he's like, with that, these are the kind of the options. Now, I'm still going to shop around. I haven't made up my mind, but geez, I mean, like, it's a perishable part. It's made to break. It's made to go. Surely they can't be this much.
Well, that's why I think the option that we've come across on the drive here, probably worth talking to those guys and seeing what they can do, because if they've got more than one, that might be sitting there for I don't know how long.
There isn't many of them.
Yeah, exactly. So that might be sitting there because, like I said, anybody that's looking at a performance one is going for those high-end clutches. That means these ones are not selling because nobody's replacing like for like anymore.
Yeah, they're going to upgrade.
So that's the thing. So these clutch company might not be able to sell them. If they've got it in stock, they might want to get rid of it, and you might be able to do some sort of a deal with them.
Well, I hope so, because it's bloody expensive, and I don't really want to spend that much money on a clutch like that. It's too much. But having said that, we're going to get to our first break of the night. We're going to come back with, Alan really has his answer, forced induction versus naturally aspirated. We're going to go to a song by Luke Million. As you know, we support Aussie artists here on Community Radio. The song's called Transylvania Disco. We'll be right back after this. You're back on CarTorque with Matty J. That was Luke Million with Transylvania Disco. Getting back to our topic, we were sort of speaking during the break of a car we can't really get Well, yet anyway, which we should have gotten ages ago. It's the Hyundai i30M, which we've talked a lot about on this show. Just before we get into our other topic, but why don't we have it here? It's been available in Europe since last year. Why do we here get things so late? It's ridiculous. I mean, we got the Stinger late. We've gotten a lot of other cars later. It makes no sense.
Yeah, either we don't get it at all, or if we get it, it's late. And you're like, well, why? Because the car's already released in Europe. The car's already...
It's ready.
It's ready. It's the same in the UK. It's been driven on the same side as ours.
Yeah.
You know, it's a right-hand drive. And, you know, why have we not got it yet? And there was no explanation from Hyundai last year because it was going to come out later half of last year. Logically, you'd like to think it's probably because they didn't want competition for the Stinger. But they're a different segment of car.
Yeah, and that's exactly. And I thought I would assume if Korea wants their big step forward, they would have just dropped all these cards at the same time. It's like here, deal with it, and bloody. These are the cars we've got. We're smashing all these sectors. Go for it. Now, I think their biggest issue is I think what they've done here is they've waited for Focus RS to finish because Focus RS is done now.
Yeah, it could be that.
And like their last few are like in the showrooms, getting sold out, but. It's not a hyper hatch. It's a hot hatch.
It's a hot hatch.
It's in GDI, Focus ST, Megane RS money. It's not in Golf R money.
That's right.
Or Civic Type R money. So I think they kind of dropped the ball on that because Renault's about to release the new Megane RS, which apparently is unbelievably good. So I reckon they're going to hit the market too late.
Yeah, and I think that's probably right. Like looking at the way Australian hot hatch or medium hatch market is at the moment, it's not. People are buying them, but people are going for the Golf Rs and the Audi RS3s and all the rest of it. So I think that's probably it. That whatever the Hyundai was waiting for, and I know that we spoke about it last week, and they released the track only warranty or whatever, which is a good thing.
Which is awesome. Yeah, it's
but it gives them publicity, gives them all this stuff. But I'm yet to see any ads. And I've been looking for this. Other people are not even looking for these. You got Holden Commodores being advertised everywhere, which nobody's buying.
Yeah.
But you've got this car, which is meant to be like a bombshell dropped on the whole mid sort of level hot hatch range.
I think another thing that they've done is because they've had like an embargo on it. So like all the Australian journalists have just tested it, but they weren't allowed to say anything about it, and now they're allowed to. Just before the car drops, I'm like, this is they're going about it all wrong.
Yeah,
like you want people gushing about the car well before it's available, so that people push those pre-orders.
Exactly right.
Push for the availability.
That's what you want in a car. You want to build hype, but they went about it the completely wrong way. As we are welcomed by Anthony, Mr. XR6 Turbo in the building. What's going on?
Currently X. Currently X XR6 Turbo, as some of you are familiar with.
Yes. Bit of a recap. Your car was in a hit and run.
Yeah, my car was sideswiped about a week and a half ago. So,
so thanks to that person.
Yes, whoever that individual was. I guess. Yeah, you can imagine what I'm going to say, right? You forgive more on radio. I don't think it's exactly appropriate.
It's not probably appropriate. Yeah.
But yeah, so entire side of the car is shot, and to be honest, it's probably going to be a write-off. So not happy.
No, not after all the money you've just spent on it.
Yeah, I'll at least be able to break even through insurance, thank God. But still, it's not the point at the end of the day.
No, definitely not. And I think that's kind of a big hit on you. But anyway, it's crap. Well, we're just talking about anything just as you're walking in. Why in Australia we get cars later than everywhere else? Like for example, the i30N's been dropped in Europe for a while now. Why we don't have it, and it happens with all the other cars like the Stinger and stuff. It's weird. I mean, I get that we've got a smaller people per capita,
smaller target market.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, if you're releasing these worldwide cars, they should be at least available worldwide at the time of the release. It's ridiculous. The Mustang we had to wait 2 or 3 years. And by that time, they were pretty much going to release the second series, which is just kind of pointless if that's the case for us. So, I think car companies just don't really take for granted Australia. But you know what? Having said that, though, companies like Mazda, because the Mazda 3 here is its biggest seller. They will release, I believe, the Mazda 3 here earlier than everywhere else.
Yeah.
Which is just, why can't you just release it everywhere at the same time? Like
it makes sense.
It would, right?
Well, they've got to test the market, right? I mean, Mazda is an interesting sort of brand because in Australia it does so well, and everywhere else it's pretty crap.
Yeah.
So the dealerships and the Mazda US come over here to see what the dealerships are doing out here. It's just they've just captured the market, and they've got a brand like Toyota. You know, they've got a brand.
Yep.
And people know and people trust type thing. Australians seem to like Mazdas.
Yeah, Australians like Mazdas, Australians like Toyotas.
And they're not hyping up their warranty to 5 years or 7 years or anything like that because people are just buying. When people stop buying, then they'll look at what else they've got. But looking at that, I think, just on a side note, we spoke a couple of weeks ago about Nissan not having any product line. I saw yesterday in the States at the New York Motor Show, they're talking about bringing the sedans back again.
With the next Ultima?
Yeah.
Because that just got dropped. But,
yeah, that's right.
I mean, it didn't sell here the first time.
No.
It won't sell again. They marketed that car all wrong. They didn't even market it. They had it on a racetrack and that was it.
But that's the concern I've got with the i30
Will they
and
sell
as well.
the racetrack version? The V8? And
If they do, yeah, I'll buy one.
that'd be
Depending
pretty
on the
exciting.
cost.
Yeah, depending on the...
Few 100,000.
That's
Come
$1 million race car. Okay, I can afford that.
Yeah, that's about right.
But, at the end of the day, it's still, a car that was here. I don't even know how long the Ultima was here for. It wouldn't have
it
been
was
that
1
long.
or 2 years. I mean, it was like the new Pulsar. It was there for a couple of years and that's it gone. And
Yeah, it's Nissan don't have a product, and they just sell SUVs, which is ridiculous. Like,
well, why they didn't have a hatchback equivalent of the Pulsar like they used to?
Yeah.
When this one was released, because clearly Australians still like hatchbacks, or younger people like hatchbacks. You got two of the best-selling cars, Mazda 3 and the Toyota Corolla, they're hatchbacks.
Yeah.
So then if Australians are continuously buying them, why you wouldn't have a car? And I know it's hard for them to make a particular car in a certain way for a particular market, but you just got to see that, the product line in Australia Nissan's got is crap. We're not going to get anything newer. There's no plans for it.
Yep.
There is other products in other markets that are selling really well that they're just not going to bring here. So we're stuck.
Yeah, and I think it's a big issue that that car companies like that have, because they think SUVs are the way forward. When in a way they are, but like you need to be able to cater for all markets, and you're just not doing that. Like if I was to walk into a Nissan dealer, I'm like, okay, I want a small car. They don't have one. I don't want to spend 30, 40 grand on an SUV for that doesn't fit my purpose.
That's a small car. They still have the 370Z, don't they?
But that's going to the 50s,
It's
60s.
technically, it's a pretty small car. I'm just saying.
That's a 60 grand car.
That's the sort of money Alan can make. We can't get there yet.
Yeah, that's his hustle money.
That's the hustle money.
But yeah, it's
Not in front of the ATO, please.
yeah. I just think like car companies in general have over the last 5 years of kind of doing it wrong. It's weird. They're not releasing cars in certain spots. They're doing this. They're doing that. They're shooting themselves in the foot, really.
Well, I mean, if we talk about things not getting here and forget about a couple of months, years, how many electric cars, and I know that's probably a touchy topic, but how many electric cars have been around in Europe? Smaller ones.
Yeah.
I mean, Leaf has been around and all that sort of stuff, but apart from that, we haven't got anything else. We haven't got the Renault Zoe. We haven't got the Golf. There's the e-Golf.
E-Golf, yeah.
We haven't got that. We haven't got any of those cars here, and they've been out in the market for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
So that means that we're so far behind, and I know there's a chicken and egg problem that infrastructure comes first, then people will start buying and all the rest of it. But release the product, engage the market.
Yeah. I mean, we had the iMeave here, but Mitsubishi, but that
Maev, Mitsubishi Intelligent Electric Vehicle.
there you go. So the more you know. The more you know. I had no idea what that stood for. I didn't really care.
Exactly, because it wasn't very intelligent. I remember in 2010 when I started working at Bosch, they set up a little electrical charging system at the front of it, and that's when they bought the Maev in for testing in Australia.
Oh, right.
And literally, even the people at Bosch, like me, I didn't want to test drive it at that time.
Well,
because it was just nobody wanted it.
yeah.
And they didn't try the same with the Leaf. The new Leaf will be really good if they actually release it here, because it looks cool.
I haven't seen it.
It's about 40 to 45,000 mark. I know it's a lot of money for.
That's what the old Leaf went for, didn't it?
Yeah, I think so. But that was. I'm not sure what they show. But this thing, I think, it's got twice the range. So this one looks cool.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see if they actually release it. But who knows? Like we get cars late. We don't get half the cars. Like Volkswagen's got Atlas in the state.
Yep.
This thing is like a bigger version of the Touareg.
Okay.
And it's not luxury. It's not like, Touareg's a luxury equivalent. It's not a luxury car.
It's just like
It's bigger. It's like big American SUVs type thing, right? We should have that here. Like, seriously, there is a market. People are buying Land Cruisers and Fortuners and all these sort of cars. Tundras?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're selling them here now.
They are, yeah.
So people are buying it. We should have that car.
The GMCs as well. They're bringing them across.
Yeah,
I think I've seen them.
HSV are going to do the conversion over here because HSV don't really have any holdings to do any work on.
Yeah.
They're doing that with the Camaro, which would be really, really cool. But again, it's going to be $25,000 more. It's going to be like it's a 90 grand car versus a 60 grand Mustang. I think you know what you're going to buy.
Yeah.
You're essentially getting, you're not getting much more difference in terms of Camaro versus Mustang, really.
Well, people buy for exclusivity, right?
Yeah, essentially.
Be
Don't you want a
Falcons
Corvette
F6.
if you're going to buy for exclusivity?
Yeah.
Or a Dodge Viper.
Or a Viper.
Or a BAF6.
Yes. Yes.
No, nobody should do that.
Oh, gee.
Because you don't want to spend $4 grand on a clutch.
You could buy another car and just drive that around. That's it. You don't need the clutch.
I'll just,
Or just buy the clutch and, I don't know, put it in storage.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
it.
just like watch it in like in glass case. I'll install you one day when I can afford it. Look, we're going to get on to forced induction versus naturally aspirated. We're going to go live on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, got any questions, put it in now. And yeah, we're gonna start that. So basically, we kind of want to know forced induction or a good naturally aspirated engine. Like, I know what I like. I like them both, but your opinions, guys. Come on.
It's forced induction all the way.
Why?
Because, well, I'll just start from the start. Most of the time, combustion engines are 30 to 40% efficient. Most of the time, you lose a lot of energy.
24%.
No, 24%. Yeah, my bad. Even less. So you're losing a lot of the energy in just heat and everything else. So what does the turbocharger do? At least, well, superchargers, different story, but turbochargers at the very least, they just reuse some of that exhaust velocity to pump more into the engine and make more power, which I think is a great thing. They also can be used for fuel economy, and a lot of the cars in the market today, they do have at least some kind of forced induction system. So I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, definitely have to stick with turbos. But in saying that, there's still, I don't know, always the satisfaction of a big V8 or a V10 or V12. But that is, again, a completely different ballgame. When you do get to those sorts of vehicles, you're not buying them for economy.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly the point. Like you're not gonna buy
SRT8.
An SRT8 for fuel economy essentially.
Yeah, exactly, but. Yeah, look, if you're looking for the purpose of fuel economy, I mean, look at turbo diesels. In the end of the day, very rarely these days you just see just normal straight diesels. It's always got a turbo attached to it.
Yeah.
Get better power out of it, better torque out of it, better economy out of it. Yeah, so why not?
We've got some commenters on Facebook. Basically, Tyrone's like Alum. He says, "Oh my god, what a head." I think it was to Anthony.
Yeah, that'd be about right.
To essentially, he's like, buy a Ranger because he's like, and then we got Matthew James says that Anthony guy's the worst.
Up yours, Matt.
But yeah, we've gone live here on here at 98.9 Northwest FM, and he says you should not be allowed on the show again, Anthony. So it's pretty brutal.
Cook me dinner.
Yeah. That is of course Matt, which we do the Nugget Nationals with, and Anthony's brother. So for me, forced induction it has to be a good forced induction. Like I like when you can actually feel the boost, because it kind of gives it that. Well, especially in terms of turbocharging, it gives that anticipation. It gives the NA guys a chance. But in terms of a good NA, I reckon an awesome NA engine is a really good engine. The Lexus LFA V10 is like one of the best sounding cars I've ever heard, and I'd totally take one of those over a lot of turbocharged cars.
Well, that's why, and I think it's sort of talking about, like, we shouldn't look at it between naturally aspirated versus turbochargers, because everything's going to be turbocharged.
Yeah.
Now, it's regulations, it's rules, it's emissions, all that, and you can get way more power and efficiency. I mean, the only company that I know is moving backwards from turbochargers is Mazda with their high compression engines.
Yes.
It'd be interesting to see if that's paired with the turbochargers or not, because we don't know yet. But that's a couple of years away. Looking at every other car that's available on the market, every performance car anyway,
Yep.
it's all turbocharged. I mean, I know there is the rare examples of your, I think Ferrari still.
I think they've all gone turbo as well.
Yeah.
So.
So maybe, but you're not going to have any sports cars anymore. So you've got the new C63,
Yeah.
the 4-liter engine that makes more power than the previous, 6.2-liter naturally aspirated V8. We're just not going to have any more of those anymore.
Yeah.
So I think moving forward, it's just going to be all turbocharged cars. If you've got naturally aspirated engines, it'll probably be the 3-cylinder 999cc
Yeah.
Suzuki Celarios and whatever else that comes out.
Yeah.
Everything else will probably be turbocharged.
Yeah, and I think that's essentially where it's going, because they're more efficient. They as Alan said, like they're using their own
Exhaust.
exhaust to power them. So if you're making efficient power like that, then by all means, it's a great way of doing it.
And it gives you kind of the freedom of making a relatively large amount of power without having to always go for that bigger engine.
Yeah.
Like V8s and V10s, if you were to go naturally aspirated, I feel like that's where you'd want to go, the V8s and V10s. Because if you come at me with a 2-litre S2000 and you have to put into first at like 45 kilometres an hour just to get anything out of it,
VTEC.
to hit the VTEC and get anywhere.
And even then, you don't get it anywhere.
You really don't. And, that's a crappy NA. Like, if you wanted the NA, go big engine, whereas the forced induction kind of lets you work around with the engine sizes. You don't have to go the biggest engine to kind of get the good power.
Yep.
Unless you have a Nugget, then it's a different story altogether. then it's cheap and affordable, and naturally aspirated sports car.
Yep. No, I completely agree with that. Yeah, definitely it has to be for the right application, and I think like a good turbocharged car, or even supercharged car, like they offer that the superchargers especially offer that linearity. But I mean, they're probably as close as you're going to get to an NA. I think it's definitely very if they're in the right application, they're used well. But I think another big issue here is tunability. Turbocharged cars, you can especially forced induction cars, I should say. You can tune them you can get way more power out of them so much easier than an NA. Like NA, you got to do so much more work to do it. Like with the turbocharged engines, up boost and play
You're
around.
pretty much done, as opposed to like a V8 or a V10 or even a 6, where it's like, okay, I've got to bore out the engine, got to chuck headers, got to chuck extractors, got to do the exhaust, and what power do I get out of it?
Get the
It's
big
normally-
cams.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there enough space in the engine either? Because you look at the GT86 supercharger mods, but that's it. You can't do much more with that car.
Exactly. You're very limited on what you can do, and then again, not to take it away from them, because they're still great cars when you go to the V8s and the V10s, but for the money that you have to put into it is just tremendous.
Yeah.
Comparative to a turbo, where it's just like, okay, well, cool, bigger intercooler, bigger injectors, bigger turbo, up the boost, done.
Yeah.
And there's another 30-40 kilowatts.
Yeah, and a lot more torque.
Yeah.
Like a nice NA engine's really where you'd like to sit if you're going to keep the car stock. Like if it's got just enough power, like a big V8, you're very happy with it, and you're just happy with the amount of power you're going to make. You're not going to upgrade it anymore. That's a nice place to sit. Whereas if you're really looking, as you said, for tunability, go that forced induction.
Yeah, the forced induction in terms of tunability is a lot more stronger. But having said that, like old school performance to get out of NA is cams, porta post heads, exhaust work. I did mention cams.
Boring them out.
Yeah, displacement again. So it's really it takes a lot more to get more power out of them, and it's a lot more costly. But don't get me wrong. As much as I love a turbocharged engine as well, I do love a good NA, and like having that NA, getting that power at a certain RPM and revving it out. Yes, I'm not a massive fan of VTEC because you have nothing below, but
very little above. That's right. Come fight me.
And in between.
But like a good NA has got a good torque and like a building torque, and you can actually go somewhere from the get go. I mean, like some of BMWs, like straight sixes, brilliant engines. I think the S54s and stuff in like the E46 M3. A lot of other cars like like those obviously C63 AMG, naturally aspirated V8s and stuff.
And then you got the VQs as well.
VQ's a great engine. That's a great example. VQ series out of obviously the 370s and most Nissan products. Really really strong engine. They actually take well to forced induction too.
Yeah.
But even from factory, they do go very well. You got low down torque, you got high end torque. They're smooth. They rev hard. They make an okay noise. It's, I guess it's finding that sweet spot, and certain cars don't have that. I mean, especially you with Alan, when you went in that S2000, you were so disappointed. You expected so much more out of that.
Yeah, I was. You could say some Fast and the Furious action. I was expecting a lot of things, but it really did not deliver.
It's fairly soft.
Yeah, and then I took my friend for a ride in the Rexy and delivered.
We're going to go to a quick break. We'll be right back after this. We're back on CarTorque with Matty J, still in the studio with all the boys here. We were just live on Facebook, so if you've got any questions on Facebook or have any comments, send it to us on our CarTorque Facebook page. It's CarTorque, TORQUE, with Matty J. We'll give you a shout out, and yeah, we'll definitely like to get you on. But yeah, getting back to this, I think we're all kind of on the same page with forced induction's the better option.
Yeah.
Well, better in certain ways.
Well, it's the way moving forward. Like, and I know I'm sort of only talking about newer cars now, but we're very fortunate in this country to have the fuel at the prices it's at.
For now.
For now, that's right. But in the UK, as an example, a litre of, I don't think they have unleaded. They've got 95. Okay. I mean, that's their base.
Yeah.
That's £1.30, £1.35.
Oh wow, okay.
That's their normal fuel prices.
Wow.
For petrol. So diesels sell well over there because diesel's a little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
And they're obviously a bit more efficient, and I think they get some tax incentives for running diesels. But
They really shouldn't.
well,
It's the fuel of Satan, man. Come on.
But it's like but look, people are moving away from diesels as well after the Volkswagen scandal and everything else as well. But it's just more expensive. So, if you're trying to fill something up that uses, 11 or 12 litres of fuel, petrol, versus a turbocharged equivalent that produces more power and uses maybe 8.5 litres, you're saving like 3, 4, if not £5 every time you go 100 kilometres, type of thing, right? So I think it's a lot more efficient. And
you even have a look at the new Volvos that they're bringing out as well.
Yeah.
The Turbo 5s, Turbo 6s.
Yeah.
They're saying obviously ideal test situation on the economy, but they're running like 6 and 7 litres per 100.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, and these are petrol engines.
Yeah, and exactly, and these are petrol engines at the end of the day. Obviously, the diesels are still very similar that they are producing as well, but it's still crazy that you can get that out of a car. And plus, if you really want, you got the tunability if you get down that path, but not that you have to.
But didn't Volvo say they weren't going to do diesels much more?
Yeah, probably.
I did hear that, right?
Not for very
not
long.
for much longer.
So I think you're right. Like a lot of the new cars. So I look at all the new cars that are out there at the moment, and all the turbocharged, even Civics, right?
Yeah.
The Civics have got a 1.5 litre turbocharged engine, not in the base model, but in the premium models, and that I think does like 5.5, if not 6 litres for every 100 kilometres.
See, this is where my issue is with all these new turbocharged engines. Like, there is more to go wrong than like your basic NA. So this is where NA comes, claws its way back. I think because NA is just it's your engine essentially. Whereas turbochargers, you can potentially get boost leaks and all this stuff, and they can be a nightmare to trace. Especially with cars with like really really tiny turbos and like really cramped in. They're not easy to work on. I don't know if you've seen like a modern day Fiesta.
No, there isn't a lot of space. But I think one thing there's two factors. One is you get a lot more warranty than what you used to. So if you go into a Honda dealer, I think this month or next month you can probably get 7 years on a car.
Yeah.
Right? So, and 5 years is a standard warranty. So that's one thing. And I think the only thing that they could probably say is that the diagnostic equipment is a lot better now. So they can pinpoint things fairly quickly that they weren't able to do back in the day. So if they know they've got a leak somewhere, and ideally you'd be able to chuck in your diagnostic computer and it will tell you that, okay, there is a problem with that end of the turbocharged line or whatever it is. So they're the only two things that I think could work for these car companies. Yeah. But as a consumer, yes, more can go wrong if they're out of warranty and all these other things. I guess the benefit of the doubt is the manufacturing technology might have gotten better.
And just add on to that, the other issue would be a lot of times with these newer smaller engines where it's like hard to reach around, you'd have a bit of difficulty fixing it yourself if you were trying to go that route.
Yep.
Especially as you said with diagnostic tools, no one's going to buy the $5,000 OBD2 scanner thing that they have at the dealership. You have to rely on a professional.
Yeah, and the cars in general are getting a lot harder to work on.
Well, it's the whole printers and cartridges thing, right? You can buy a multi-function printer for like $30, but a cartridge is $90 when you have to replace it. It's the same story with this.
Yeah.
You buy the car, and then I guess they are sort of pushing you to go back into the dealerships to get it done.
Yep.
So that's how they're making money.
Yep. Essentially, it's a lose-lose for everybody. But look, to end on this point, I think both NA and turbos or supercharged or forced injection, I should say, have got their pros and cons. The way forward is definitely turbocharging. Supercharging's kind of really died off. Like no one's doing it, even though I think it's very because it runs off the engine anyway. So you don't have any lag, but most cars really today use small turbos anyway. So you're virtually getting no lag anyway. I think with the latest technology, the cars are getting quicker and obviously safer. But give it 5-10 years, I don't know where these new turbocharged cars are going to be. And especially, you'll hear people say, "Oh, don't buy a European car after 3 years after it's out of warranty." Yeah. I wonder how all these other cars are going to go even after their 5-6 years warranty if they're going to last.
Yeah, and the thing is, we don't have much historical data to go off at the moment because a lot of this turbo stuff has only really picked up in the last 4 or 5 years, and a lot of those cars haven't really come out of their warranty periods yet.
Exactly right. I mean, even like supercars, like we mentioned, Ferrari's doing it, Porsche's doing it. Like they've stopped their flat sixes in a lot of them, and they're putting turbocharged Fords.
Turbo Fords, yeah. Yeah,
which is really really different compared to what's been done before. But having said that, again, the tunability is phenomenal. Any turbocharged car really you can really go ham with and get good gains. People with like APR tunes on Golfs and stuff. To doing like 3 seconds to 100 with just a downpipe exhaust and injectors and a tune, like it's nuts. So there's definitely room to play there. Look, I think it's time for the quiz. Who's into doing it? Anthony? Yeah.
I think it has been a while for me, so regretfully I will do it. Why not?
You will do it. Alan, are you willing to help or is he on his own?
I think I've actually been pretty good as a team.
Yeah. So
we'll keep it going.
We'll keep it going.
Riz can help give them wrong answers, so
That's it.
You just give us like facial suggestions if we're on the right track.
Facial suggestions.
So whatever Alan does, whatever Riaz does, go the opposite.
That's it.
Sweet.
This is the CarTorque car quiz. Question 1. Chevy just released a hotter version of the current Corvette. What is it called?
A hotter version?
Yes. The more powerful version. They release it usually towards the end of the model's lifespan, and they've done it with the C4 and the C6.
Never has the name been used before?
It does. It has been.
So
used
would it be
before.
Stingray? I'd say it'd be Stingray, wouldn't it? Oh, man.
Corvette Finale.
Yeah, go with Stingray. I mean, it's the end of the day. I mean, I know it is the variation of it, but
It was Stingray.
it's not.
ZR1 or ZR1.
Ah, yeah.
I thought that was too simple. Like that was just a model.
I thought that was a Camaro thing.
No, they got ZL1.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Oh, how did I get those confused?
That's why ZR.
Question 2. The current Ford GT supercar has how many cylinders?
6.
It does have 6.
Disappointing.
Packaging reasons. That's the reason they did it. Packaging reasons. Question 3. The later AP2 Honda S2000 engine had a displacement of what?
The later one. They still keep 2 litres? I thought it still kept 2 litres.
Yeah, I think it did too.
2.2?
But yeah, I'm leaning more towards the 2.2. Yeah. I'm going to go 2.2.
Is that your final answer?
Alan, what do you think? Paper, scissors, rock for it?
Alright, paper, scissors, rock for it.
Alright, you won.
Alright, 2 litres.
It's 2.2.
I was meant to be giving the wrong answer.
Yeah. I can only do radio when you guys do. Anyway. Question 4. True or false? The Hyundai i30N is the only N car Hyundai currently sell.
I'll go true.
I'd say true.
It's false. They offer the Veloster
Stuff,
N.
Yeah.
Since when?
They don't offer it here. It's in. I believe it's the states only,
that's
right?
Yeah,
trick
there's
That's a
a
trick
Veloster.
question.
No, it's not.
I call shenanigans.
Yeah. We're discussing Australian economies here.
But see, the thing is, they don't get the i30 any over there.
Well, it's even more of a scam.
Question 5. The Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio has how many cylinders?
Quad.
I feel it's a V8. No.
6 cylinders.
Wait, what was it? It's supposed to compete with the V8s, right?
Yes, it is supposed
Oh.
to. It competes with C63 and M3.
I mean, you would figure a V8, but from
M3's on a V8s.
Nah.
Well, the new one doesn't anyway.
just we'll go 6 cylinders then.
It is 6. It's got 6 on the toe.
That was totally not Riz helping at all. Totally not.
Jay's clapping in the back.
We're doing pretty badly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 2 out of... Yeah, it's not great. Question 6. Is it naturally aspirated or turbocharged? Being on the theme of tonight's show.
Turbo.
Yeah.
It is turbocharged. Congratulations, guys. You've got 3.
Yay!
I thought working together would be a lot easier for you guys.
Well,
But.
evidently not, alright? Get off my back.
Question 7. The 300ZX was produced until what decade? Or produced into that decade.
2000s.
1990s. My answer
1990s.
stands.
It's one of those.
It's my answer stands to the 1990s.
1990s.
Are you happy with the 1990s, Anthony?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. They didn't
Oh,
have
the
any-
ZX. What am I thinking? I'm thinking...
180s.
Yeah, 90s.
Yeah, I think it's the 90s. That's correct.
No, I don't know why I was thinking like 350Z. Yeah. And that's what I was like, I know they got produced in 2000s.
You're just thinking VQ.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
right.
much.
Question 8. The BMW M4 uses an engine with how many cylinders?
The M4.
Same as the Alpha.
He's full giving it answers.
It's 6.
It is 6.
I totally knew that.
Question 9. What decade did the first Supra badged car come out in?
What decade?
What decade? Yes.
Superbadge, that would have been, I believe, the 80s.
Going with 80s.
78.
What?
The 70s, yeah.
What was that? The Celica Supra? That doesn't
Yes,
count.
it does-
That does
it's-
not count.
it's a
Does-
super
does
badge
not
car.
count. Does not count.
bit of
I'm
finger
demanding
pointing
half a
going on
point.
here.
I'm demanding half a point because I knew that, which is exactly why I made the statement.
Oh, please. all right, I'll give you that. Point five.
We've discussed the Celica Supra before.
But the question was Supra badged car. It was.
Yeah.
It was
Celica Supra. It was a Supra.
It was Supra was on there. What do you think, Anthony?
Shenanigans.
Yeah, still shenanigans.
James, what do you think in the backyard?
Again, it's a technicality, but again, shenanigans.
All right, shenanigans stands. Question 10. True or false? Mercedes-Benz have just
False.
have created a four-door version of the GT, or GTS, that they sell.
I believe that. It'd be very hard to make possible.
Yeah, I'm going false.
It's true. They released a four. It's ugly as hell.
I want to see this.
Google.
Have you seen the? Speaking of 2 and 4 door cars, have you guys seen the 2-door Range Rover?
Yes.
Looks disgusting.
Why?
And
I don't know.
Somebody and they're pricing it at £250,000.
why. Pounds. Yeah.
A 2-door Range Rover.
It's ridiculous. It's as bad as the Evoque convertible. I mean,
Yeah,
what's the
exactly,
point?
exactly.
Yeah, what's the point? You're not buying SUVs again, dude. This is the reason why I seriously dislike them. Let's see how many you guys got. 1, 2, 3, 4,
And
4.5.
Yes.
You had 3 of you working on it, and you got 4.5. That's
Hey, I definitely bring the team down.
Yeah, you did. Not gonna lie.
I was expecting worse.
That's not a GT anymore.
It's based off the same car. It is the same car.
How much longer is the wheelbase?
I'm not too sure. Actually, don't know that exact stat.
It's not the same car.
Adam's calling shenanigans again. We're going to go to our last break, and then we'll be right back after this. You're back on CarTorque with Matty J. They just saw what the GT looked like during the break, and they weren't impressed. GT4 door, I should say. To finish off, anyway, the show, seeing as we've discussed quite a bit, and especially about Anthony's potentially written off car.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you think? Would you go down the barrow path again, or would you consider something different?
Well, funny you mentioned that. I am actually considering a few different options, even though at no part was I considering getting rid of the barrow anytime soon. Obviously, yes, that is in the list that I am considering checking out if it is a total loss. Mind you as well, that if it is a total loss, I will be buying the car back and then doing an engine conversion on it.
Crown.
Yes, in a Toyota Crown.
I like the sound of this.
Yeah. So that'll be an exciting bit of fun, but again, take one step at a time. So obviously, Barrow Ute again, still coming in there. Considering a WRX Impreza actually, 4-door.
Alan should be happy with that.
Yeah, but we're talking the new generations.
Newer.
Newer generation. Still talking like a 2010. 2011, so still with a wide body.
Well, you got to get the wide body one.
Things of that nature. There's a couple which are up, which are pretty reasonable.
Dude, that white one you showed me was neat.
Yeah.
Like low Ks.
Yeah, 68,000 Ks on it.
Fully optioned too, sat nav and everything. It's a nice car.
Exactly. And that was leather interior, sunroof, all those other sorts of things. Was pretty well priced. Now I was considering this one until I realised for insurance, and this is going back down to the naturally aspirated way, which is actually an SRT8 300C.
Wagon too, right?
Yeah, they're hard to come by, but if I managed to find a wagon, it would be more ideal. But the trade-off in that is...
Insurance?
Well, insurance, fuel, and also it's an automatic.
Yeah.
And the ones they'll be looking at are the not the 8-speed automatic either.
What about self-respect?
Yeah, I can live without. I don't have much when
I was going to say
Chrysler anyway. It's not about the fact of it being Chrysler. It's the fact of it being 0 to 100 in 5.3, I believe it is, out of a 6.1 Hemi V8.
Nothing wrong
When
with
we
that.
go driving around the chapel with drugs in the boot, there's plenty of self-respect.
Exactly. Because that's the true hustle. You're making the money.
Exactly.
That's a hustle right there.
And by drugs in the boot, we mean Panadol.
Of course. What else?
That's for the record.
Actually, they're actually multivitamins, I believe.
Swiss.
Swiss.
Just multivitamins. But no,
you feel better on those on Swiss.
that's what I've heard. But no, in all seriousness, though, I am leaning between 99% likely will be another Barrow just for my particular trade applications.
Sparky life.
Yep, exactly. Trade life, and given I've still got a whole lot of trade appropriate equipment for the Barrow after all. But if I do go down to the flip side, it probably will be a Rex.
They're good value.
Just for bang for buck, for the power that you get out of it.
Yeah.
They're 5.3 to 100, and they're, 193 kilowatts at the fly?
And that's not even STI. That's just WRX.
This is just WRX, not even STI. Still rocking the Brembos. I mean, the only downside is they...
5-speed.
Yeah, or 5-speed and interior, they are very basic.
Mm.
It is literally just the case of, all right, I got my cruise control, I got my radio controls on the stereo, and
that's it.
yeah, that's pretty much it. Doesn't have reverse cameras, doesn't have reverse sensors, nothing like that. It is...
You need reverse cameras in a Rexy. What is this?
Just drive forward into everything.
Yeah, exactly. But let's be honest, if that did happen, there would be modifications to make it a little bit more up to date, I guess you would say, the way it should have been to begin with. But yeah, at the moment, Rex or Barrow.
And they got the 2.5 too, so
they are.
Yeah,
And
bit more displacement.
Exactly, but it is only a 4-cylinder, not a 6. I mean, given the fact that it's still 5.3 to 100, there's definitely respect there.
As I said, they've always been a quick car. That's why Ram Raiders kind of loved them in the 90s.
Exactly. Oh, it all comes down to how you use the power. When you have all-wheel drive as well, that's
use it everywhere.
Exactly, completely usable. Obviously, I was planning on getting 300 at the rear wheels in the Ute, which that's borderline usable power before you just lose traction. And I'm looking at possibly a Rex, which would probably be maybe 150 at all 4 wheels, but it's completely usable.
Yeah.
And even if I up that to 200, 250, it's completely usable.
Dude, at the Nugs, it was pissing down rain. The people that were having the best time and getting the best times were
all-wheel drives.
All drives, simple as that.
Yeah.
They could use the power. All these massive rear-wheel drive cars were just like I mean, like that BMW.
End up going to the back of the wall.
Yeah, just couldn't use the power, and it's I mean, we had no power to use.
That was front wheel drive on semi slicks in the rain.
In the
Good
rain,
combo.
which is a very very intelligent combo that we did.
Hey, only you and Matt ended up coming off the track. I didn't.
Yes, that is a fair point.
And of all people to not come off the track or to total the car.
Dude, I thought you weren't going to come back, to be honest.
That's why I said that you two guys go first, because at least then you guys got your shot before, the inevitable.
Yeah, but look, it drove home and we've still got it. But
Somehow.
yeah, definitely all-wheel drive is. I mean, like Alan, you've had all-wheel drive now for a while, and it's great, right? Like
It's a great time. Like, you can always trust the car. The only problem I have is when I then get into another car,
Yeah.
I'm expecting things that aren't there, and I can end up getting in a little bit of trouble.
I mean, that comes with that all-wheel drive sense of security. I know I was speaking to my brother about it, and with the Foz he's got, and he's like, he had the same issue when he went from his first car, which was a Liberty, all-wheel drive 2.5 into an FGX RZX. He's like, yeah, that all-wheel drive stability is just gone. Like, is like that confidence in the wet conditions and stuff, especially, is not there. It's like, look, FRs are always a more pure driving experience. It's like on the right roads, like the Falcon felt way better. But it's like knowing you've got that stability of all-wheel drive, that safety net. It's a good thing to have. Yeah, I definitely all on board the WRX train, and Alan, I've driven your car, and I think it's a lot of fun. So yeah, definitely they're the ways to go. Look, we're out of time for tonight. Like and share our Facebook page. It's CarTorque, TORQE with Matty J. If you've got any questions, send it through to us. We've got the CarTorque website coming up very, very soon. It's got reviews and like our podcast as well. So if you've missed any of our previous episodes of our podcast, it's all on our Facebook page. We've got the link to our Shine Engine page. Otherwise, just Google us, or we're on iTunes as well. Reece, you want to give Carloop a quick plug?
Yeah, so Carloop's Facebook page, Carloop AU. Check us out, like, share, subscribe.
Yeah, any shout-outs, guys, for you two?
No, not really. Just be kind to one another and don't text and drive.
They text and drive. That's all right.
Matt, if you can hear this, put the Kievs in the oven. I would much prefer not to wait for dinner.
Yes, Matt, if you're listening, put those Kievs in the oven. James, can we give you a quick plug before we get offline?
Man vs. Movies every Tuesday, 6 p.m, 98.9 Northwest FM. Like and share the Man vs. Movies Facebook page, and you can find the podcast on Shout Engine, iTunes, or on your regular podcasting app.
We'll be back next Tuesday night, but hopefully we can get in another episode because I want to trial some different podcasting methods, which will be really, really good. And over the next 2 weeks, especially because I'm off as a teacher with school holidays, paid school holidays, which is nice to have.
That's the real reason he became a teacher. That time off.
Yes, that time off, but don't take into account all the parent-teacher interviews, all the late nights, marking, and more marking. So it kind of adds up in the end. And Anthony's like, yeah, BS.
Pretty much.
But yeah, look, stay tuned on our Facebook page. We'll be back next week, 7 p.m. for CarTorque here on 98.9 Northwest FM. But in the meantime, this has been CarTorque with Matty J. Thanks, guys, for coming on.
So it's a pleasure.
Thanks, buddy.
And I'll see you guys next week. Take it easy.
This is professional radio, gentlemen.
And
it's front wheel drive.
Scotty, have you got anyone you want to thank?
Just myself.
And now we do the after hours. Dun, dun, dun.
Gentlemen, what would you go for?
Dacia Sandero.
Okay, and because it's not a supercar.
But it is.
It's not.
Automotive perfection comes in the form of 2 letters, A and U.
Long live my LTD.